It's the Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. Yes, it's very correct. It's the Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1, the smoothest dial on Lagos Radio. You're listening to Strictly Sober. Right now, we are in the segment we call Office Journal that runs every Tuesday from 11 till 11:45 or 11:50, and it is something that you should be a part of. We always tell you because not just the music, we got you covered on every front. And this morning, we're talking about something relating to you first. We'll talk about your productivity, your work ethics, your mentality, because it is what produces a lot of things that you do. And some of those things you just do without thinking. So we're talking about intrapreneurship. Some weeks or months back, I did talk about the concept of quiet quitting, and this one negates it strongly because beyond you just being an employee or being a part of an organization, waking up, if you're working a 9 to 5 or in Lagos and you're doing it in 5 to 9, if you get what I mean, it's beyond it. So let's talk about what you did not understand about entrepreneurship because a lot of buzz is on entrepreneurship, but let's bring it down to entrepreneurship. And I have someone who's a perfect fit who I'm so grateful to have in the studio to be my guest this morning. He is a life and business coach. He is the co-founder and also the MD CEO of Resource Intermediaries Limited. He is an author with 7 published books, both on relationships, on entrepreneurship, on personal branding, leadership, and so many aspects. And I tell you, this person is so endowed with the wealth of knowledge and experience. He's also a certified member of the John Maxwell team. And if you know anything about the John Maxwell team, you will have an idea of the things we'll be hearing, the value we'll be getting from the conversation this morning. He's also an associated certified outsourcing professional, a fellow of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria, and also a member of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria. Let's just cut it short and say if I should read out his entire profile this morning, would not leave or even get into anything. So please make welcome my special guest this morning on Office Journal, Mr. Olusoji Oyawoye. Good morning.
Good morning, Oluwaseun. It's a pleasure to be on the Journal Show this morning with you.
I am the one who has the greatest pleasure because I feel I'm about to be baptized with lots of knowledge, solid knowledge. You know, it's one thing for you to say something, it's another for you to have experienced it and be dishing it out from where you have been. So, again, thank you so much. Now, let's just get right into the definition. I like to start with the basics so that there is no assumption that somebody understands what the keyword is. So the topic for this morning is what you were not told about entrepreneurship. But first, what is intrapreneurship?
Thank you, Oluwaseun. Actually, entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs basically are internal entrepreneurs. That's why you have inter and preneurship. So they are entrepreneurs, but internal. So they are employees with owner mentality. They're not shareholders, but they work with a conviction as if they co-own the business. They're never motivated by salary and benefits. They're just motivated by drive to add value to the organization.
Yeah, I found it when I first got the basic definition online. I found it interesting. And the question is, do we really have people like this who will take another man, in quotes, another man's business like it's theirs, and they are earning just a salary or whatever benefits that comes with it? And I'm wondering, how many of them have you come across?
Oh, first, there is no successful business. You know, when a business is successful, like they say, it really would have lived for 40 years. That's a global standard. For it to say a business successful, it must have been around for 40 years. Now, there's no successful business that truly thrives without having one or more entrepreneurs working for it. Look at Steve Jobs, look at Apple. He's since gone. But that company continues to be a market leader because there are intrapreneurs. In my business, we're 16 years old now. I have quite a few entrepreneurs. And interestingly, one of the first to be groomed, because you groom them.
You just read my mind.
You groom them. People don't just wake up and want to be entrepreneurs. there's some key things that organizations have to put in place to groom intrapreneurs. When I started that process, about second, third year of our business, we didn't make a profit until year seven. We're 16 years old now.
Yeah.
And within those 7 years, the first entrepreneur that I groomed won the US lottery and refused to leave the company to go abroad. He's still with us today. He has since become part owner as it is. But he didn't become part owner until about year 14. But in the 7 years we were making losses, he won the US lottery and ditched it because of what we had. He saw we were creating and there was a buy-in. So there's certain things, and I'll share that as we go on, hopefully, what businesses must put in place to groom intrapreneurs.
I'm itching to actually get into how do you cite, or what are the things you look out for since you're grooming entrepreneurs? What are those markers that you see that make you believe, okay, this person is a potential entrepreneur? And the grooming process, because the story you shared now made me just open my mouth. You know how we say it in Nigerian parlance? No be juju be that.
No be juju.
Because how will you get in this age and time? How will you get the lottery and refuse to live? That is interesting. So first, let's start with the things that you see in a potential entrepreneur that makes you want to take a chance. Because I'm thinking at the back of my mind, it's a risk.
That's the wrong question, actually. It's not what you see in the entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's what you put in place as a business.
Okay, let me get this straight. It means anybody can be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
So it's not that some people are exhibiting some traits that makes you think, okay, I can hone this and increase it and magnify it. It's just that anybody can be groomed into an entrepreneur.
Average length of time spent in my organization was 16 years now. But my staff average is 11 years, 11, 12 years. Some have been there 16 years. So why don't they leave? No, we've also had some japa and leave and all of that, but then they're in the minority and for good reason. So it's what you put in place. And the three basic things that make people want to leave in any organization, it's uniform. One, inadequate pay, inappropriate bosses or toxic bosses, lack of career development. Those are the three things.
Inadequate pay, toxic bosses, and
lack of career development. So
okay.
If you put those three in place, you would attract people who can then begin to feel a buy-in into the organization. You will eventually come to what you asked. What are the markers you see in people? But these three things first have to be in place. Then you'll begin to see people aspire and struggle to get a buy-in into the organization. In fact, in all 90%, statistics shows 90% of people who leave organizations leave so because of a boss, not because of the organization. So a critical element in staff retention is who do they report to? Not even the MD or how big or successful the company is. Who do they report to? I have people who have been offered sometimes 100, 200,000 higher pay, and they don't go. Sometimes I tell them, me, the MD, if I was made that offer, I would leave. So what is it that is keeping you here? But by the time they express it, then it gives you some fulfillment as to the culture and the values you have created. So it takes some time, but it must be intentional.
Okay. So we'll take a first break, and when we come back, I want to start with the first point you mentioned, inadequate pay. And we're going to use you as the case study organization because you've built this thing and you can talk from experience. How can startups, because very few startups can afford the quality of the people they hire. And I think it's better for a startup to grow together. It's better when everybody grows as a family, even though sometimes we don't like the idea of that. They see business as business, but at the same time, there is something different when you create that familial relationship at your workplace. So how can startups afford to pay them and not make them leave, since inadequate pay is one of the markers or one of the things? So that is what we will come back in, but for now we'll take a quick break. If you're joining us for the first time, you're in the right place, and I and join you to just get a chip. What you just have to do is tell somebody who you think should be a part of this conversation. We are talking about intrapreneurship, what you were not told. And I have my special guest in the studio. You can join us live on YouTube, by the way. It is youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. We will be right back.
What's up? This is Dari.
You
Stay
actually
tuned.
started to
Stay
belong
tuned right here on Smooth
because that's what
98.1.
most startups. I made the same mistake when we
Hey,
started.
Samiwa, how was school today?
School is great today. Daddy, guess what?
I
Kamsi
went
is back in
to
school again.
Kamsi, isn't that the
Ascension.
girl that is always top in your class?
Yes, Mom.
So, where has she been?
Her dad died. I thought I told you, Daddy.
Oh dear, that's so sad.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Daddy.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, what's going on?
Yes. For others on YouTube to hear. All right.
Now she can become a doctor she always wanted.
Awesome.
Kamsi said her mommy told her that her daddy got her. an
Okay. You were
insurance
saying you made the same mistake.
Same mistake. I thought the best way to start was to go and headhunt the experts to come help my startup business to grow. So I went to competing organizations, leading organizations that picked their middle management, paid them well, official cars and whatever. Big mistake. Because I learned the hard way that a startup needs to build its talent, not buy the talent. And most startups make that mistake. Because the talent you're buying, they're great for running a business that's already known and is doing well. They're not good at all with startups. Because they come with chips on their shoulders. You tell them, guys, you can't talk to them anyhow, they will talk back at you. You know, so you go to look for people, like you said, which is a amateur class graduate. So part of what I did after 3 years, I sacked all those people. I went to look for people like me with no class, or didn't even go to school, and began to build. They're the ones that have stayed and built the business.
Wow.
So except you are running a science business, like you need doctors, you can't go and get just startups or something. But if it's most other businesses, just get them as raw as possible, fresh from school, OND, HND, BSc, and then invest in training and building them into who you want. First, they are so impressed and grateful to you because they can.
Taking a chance
Both
on
of
that.
my staff, first time they entered an aeroplane is working with me. So you go on trips, you take them to Aqua Bay, you do things that ordinarily they never would do. So in their community, in their families, people can see that moving. The way to grow a business is build your people, then they build the business. But most people do it the other way, and it's a big mistake.
Okay. That is, we have 13 minutes. Build a business and the people will build. Build the people and the people. Okay. It's Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun, and we are talking intrapreneurship. The things you were not told about is actually the truths of intrapreneurship. And it's been an interesting one. Interesting because we are having the good chats behind the scenes. That's why you need to be on YouTube. I don't even know how to make my guest repeat the things he has said behind the scenes. But well, for the sake of those who are not on YouTube, would go back again and tell you the questions or the answers to the question, which I said we will come back in. And that is, how do startups, or how will startups build in such a way that although they might not be able to afford the good ones, in quotes, because inadequate pay is one of the things you said might make people leave. So how will startups, bring in the good talents, or at least grow from the scratch?
Another good question, Oluwaseun. Except you're in some science specific industry, like you need a doctor or you need a pilot. My advice and my experience in 16 years actually is to build your talent rather than buy the talent. So you build your talent rather than buy, meaning go look for people fresh out of school. And then you invest time and money in training them and building them into the people you want. One, that comes a lot cheaper. And as you succeed, they are more likely to stay with you because they can see the changes and the improvements that they have derived from working with you. And over time, their family see it, their community see it. So even when they want to take those decisions to leave, there are people telling them, what is wrong with you? That place that did this to you, that place that did that. And that has been my experience. By the way, in our own startup, we didn't make a profit for 7 years. We're 16 years now. In our first 3 years, I also made that same mistake, trying to buy talent and buy experience, which I couldn't afford, by the way. But I took loans to give them official cars and get the best from leading workers in the industry. Bad decision. After about 3 years, I had to let them go because they can run a business that is already known and already has a customer base. They can't find the customers. When you're a startup, you need people that when you tell them, guys, we need to fold our sleeves and get into the street, they follow you there. But when you go and buy talent, those are usually English speaking people that can do lots of lovely presentations and wears high heel shoes but those are not what you need at that time. Now, in building your people, there are four key things that organizations need to also know. And I'll use the alphabet ABCD. Every human being, particularly every employee, has 4 desires. You must build into your business, even at startup, how to fulfill those desires. Then your people will stay. The A stands for acquire. Every employee has a desire to acquire the good things of life. Every employee has a desire to acquire some social status and recognition. So you must find a way to build into your system, whether it's club membership or the TGIFs, or the opportunity you give them to speak, knowledge sharing series in the organization to improve their public speaking. And you are fulfilling that desire that they have to acquire the A. The B, every employee has a desire to bond, to form positive connections with individuals and groups, right? So enroll them in professional organizations where they can network within the profession for which they are serving you. Create atmospheres for maybe CSR initiatives that the organization does and what have you. It gives people that fulfillment that they are bonding. Then the TGIFs, everything is not just about work. Have play moments within the organization where everybody forgets levels and all of that. You are fulfilling that desire to bond. They see, comprehend. Every employee has a desire to comprehend, which is the curiosity. Everybody has a curiosity to explore, to be adventurous, even those that you think are reserved. Everybody has desire to comprehend, to satisfy their curiosity and master the world around them. So offer hybrid work environments, for example, so that everything is not just work. They can work from home. We had started hybrid work before COVID. 2 years before COVID, we had started hybrid work. My staff didn't need to come to work every day. So by the time all of that happened, it was just a smooth sail. And guess what? Part of the fulfillment the staff felt also was, Oga, how did you know? Well, I didn't know, but some hackers were that open and flexible. And we have a variety of staff. 4 generations in our organization, from the millennials to people like me that are almost 60 as it is. So we are open, we listen, and that helps fulfill that desire to comprehend. Then D, every employee has a desire to be defended by the organization and the community. So your staff has a medical issue. Forget all those medical limits. You go out of your way to meet that because you are defending that staff. So they know that in this place, should I fall sick? Should my child fall sick? Should there be an accident? These people beyond my level or salary would go out of their way. That's what we do. There's nothing like HMO, this limit, that limit. Someone joined us and within a month had an accident, and first for the hospital to even receive him, hospital asked for $500,000. He had just done 1 month with us. We paid to get him out of that hospital treatment for his leg and whatever. We spent almost $2 million. He hasn't worked 1 month. Guess what? From the hospitalization, he resigned. He didn't spend 3 months. Oh yeah, you feel so shocked. That is us defending the staff. So every other staff that remains knows that these guys have my back. So whether it's a police problem or there's a rent issue or what have you, we have a staff cooperative. My female staff, nursing mothers, when they resume from their maternity, there's a crash in the office. So you come to work with your baby. My male staff, they have paternity leave. When your wife delivers a baby, for 2 weeks, just stay at home with that mother and baby. So I'm defending. So once you fulfill this ABCD for your staff, oh, come on, you groom entrepreneurs.
Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. If you're on YouTube, you'd see my facial expression because wow. You know, at the start of this conversation, when I said I saw the definition, the basic definition of entrepreneur,
Right.
I was asking if we really have entrepreneurs. But now
They do exist.
it's more like, do we have people who want to groom entrepreneurs?
Absolutely.
Because all the things you just listed, how do you cater to somebody's health and wellness with that amount of cost and the person left you? How did it make you feel?
That's the thing. You see, that's why I teach, I speak, and I coach. And these are values, again, acquired from one of my mentors, John C. Maxwell. You can't lead people if you don't love them and value them. When you love people and value them, then things move beyond. So when we say our people are our greatest assets at Resource Intermediaries Limited, it's not a cliche. They are our greatest assets. And we live it. Now, guess what? That individual that left, and most individuals that have left us, they end up bringing the most business for the organization because they live as ambassadors. So that's why I don't get upset about it. Now, was I like this from start? No. But I also had mentors. So if you're in business, get a business mentor. Anything you want to aspire or groom in life, make sure you get people who be an apprentice, learn from people. The mistake is a lot of people, unfortunately, especially the millennials, just they raise some dollars, some funds here and there and say, I'm on my own. There's some fundamental issues. You need the experience and the wisdom of the old like us, while we need your energy and your creativity. The two, I benefit from all of that in my organization.
Okay. There is a lot to be said actually, and you can be a part of this conversation on WhatsApp. Clement British Man, if I got it right, says, "Good morning, all. Who's that man in the studio with you, ma?" What he says is not common. Thank you, sir. His name is Olusoji Oyawoye. He's the CEO, the co-founder, and also the MD of Resource Intermediary Limited. And like he has rightly mentioned, he's a coach, a life and business coach, and these are solid truth because I'm just thinking, how can you replicate yourself? Not yourself now, the mentality that you have, because I'm looking at a number of employers these days. People do not have the grit, the patience, the endurance, the perseverance. People just want to make money. And it's sad because nobody's willing to take a chance on you. No, even when you decide to go all out on a limb for your employer, they don't really care. So what can we do to increase this kind of mentality? Because at the end of the day, it falls back on all of us.
Another good question, Luashon. First, a bit of caveat. You didn't know of me until you stumbled on me and brought me here. So there are many like me out there. The sad thing is, it's not newsworthy. What the news carries, you know what the news carries. It's somebody has murdered somebody has stolen somebody. So this kind of news isn't newsworthy. So that's the unfortunate thing. So perhaps to your industry, there are many like me. That's the truth. I'm completely local breed and local trained, and there are many. But you don't hear of us or know us because again, it's not the newsworthy things. Then how can you now speaking to staff? I've spoken to the employers that need to put this in place. Now, whether your organization provides it or not, this is my advice to staff. Because you can be an intrapreneur, even if those things are not prevalent in your organization. Guess what? The beneficiary ultimately is you. For when you go and start your own business, or from that your entrepreneurial spirit, someone with those kind of values will find you and come and take you out of that place where you are not appreciated. And these are some guides I'd like to say to staff generally.
Okay, I'll hold you on that thought because we need to take a quick breather. And when we come back, we'll be rolling out those things that you should have as an entrepreneur. And again, I enjoin you to be a part of it because you have no idea the amount of value I am getting. This is millions worth of investment, and you're just getting it for free. So call all your family members and everybody you think should get this. And stay tuned. You're listening to Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1.
I think we all just different. Just like you said, how come I picked my call? Sometimes I respond to calls or chats online. And people are like, you answered. And am I not supposed to respond to your chat?
There is that gap.
And they said people like you don't answer. I said, well, maybe many don't answer, but I don't understand why.
Because we expect you to be busy, really busy and occupied, that you are outsourcing some things. But I'm thinking, okay, because it's your person and you care and you want to be involved every step of the way, maybe.
That's the solution is, as you build those people, get out of their way to run their shop. So delegate. So we have a subsidiary business, the Bunker Co-work Spaces, 6 locations. I can't be in 6 locations. RL itself is in 4 locations in Nigeria and in Ghana. So the people that are in charge, let them run their shop. So that's the training I have. So when you say I'm busy just providing oversight. So each of them, maybe at the end of the week, they just give me 3-4 lines of what has happened this week. That's all I need to know. So I don't go check it. What have you done? Who is at work? Who is stealing money? Then you have not built the right people. Because when you build them, then let them run. It's a mistake to try to let them, because otherwise they will try to be like you, which is what most businesses do. You look at churches, for example, people start to dress like the pastor, cut their hair like the pastor, instead of being encouraged to be you. So that's what you do. A lot of what I model, yes, may be all, we're all products of 3 things: family we're born into, the environments we grew up in, the role models we submit ourselves to. You can't change the family you're born to, good or bad, but you can change your environment and your role models. That's what I did. So I wasn't always like this, but I began to choose the right role models to mentor me, change my environment, my life. And that's why I began to say, well, if I can do this, then I need to let people know you can be. You don't have to be born with a silver spoon. I wasn't born with any spoon, not even with
Not even a clay.
So it's not about that. It's not about your degree and the church class. It's not about degrees. It's not about those things. The right attitude, who you associate with. Then you don't need to jack up. Rather travel every month and meet them there and come back. I would rather do that than say I'm running. Somebody has to create the value here.
I hope. I really do hope, because I've been called weird a number of times when I say I don't have the intentions of leaving. Although there are countless of reasons, but I always like to use the analogy of the Noah's Ark when it was flooding. When the rain started initially and everywhere was flooded, those who were living in a story building ran to 3-story. Those who were in 3-story maybe ran to 6-story. Those who were on the tallest or living in the tallest skyscraper ran to maybe Mount Everest. But eventually caught up with Mount Everest.
Great
So,
example.
where you
Inflation is there now, that like they've never had it ever. The dollar pound is almost equal now. So everywhere, in fact, I love your analogy. I'd like to use it somewhere someday. Now, there's nothing wrong with whoever chooses to go, but go for the right reasons. Many are just peer pressure.
Exactly.
Go for the right reasons. That's it. And end up there working in Mr. Biggs. Yeah, but there's a credit system, so they can buy car, so they think they're okay.
And that credit system is one of the greatest being, because You have no. So I watched this documentary on Netflix about the credit system and how you have student loans, and it's almost as if it's designed to shackle
Till you
you.
die.
All right, we're going in. It's Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It's Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1, and I'm having one of the best discussions ever. You can join us, be a part of it. If you want to send your thought, your messages, whatever it is you like to say, you can send it to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. Again, WhatsApp is 0809 444 0981. Or you can call actually 01448 9981. Again, 01448 9981. Maybe you would like to say something. Well, maybe you even disagree with something that my guest has said, or you want more clarity on something. You can go ahead and air your thoughts. So use WhatsApp, or you can use the call line, or you can even decide to tweet at us at Smooth981 FM is the handle to tag. Just use the hashtag Office Journal 981, or the final channel which you can use is YouTube. Drop it in the chat box on YouTube, youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. So we were having that behind, which I really like, by the way, the discussion before the discussion online. And by the way, my guest is yeah,
Not yet.
it's coming soon. Mr. Olusoji Oyawoye, and he's the MD CEO Resource Intermediaries Limited, and also the co-founder. We were talking about we're talking about the jackpotizing that has become a real big thing, from something that started as a slang, maybe in a song or so. I don't know where.
Song.
Yeah, and now it became a real concept that a number of people are building things around it. In hand in hand with the jackpot is resignations. Even some people who are not leaving Nigeria are resigning because of, I want to go to this place. It looks nice from afar. It looks nice from what you're saying, but you're not quite sure what is inside. So, and I like to believe that when people resign, it means that there is a vacancy. Now, how do you use the opportunity? We're having a lot of people leaving jobs now. So how do you think of yourself as coming into harnessing that opportunity so that you can do something better? So the concept of entrepreneurship is you're not just a regular person.
Absolutely.
You have a different mentality.
Absolutely.
And it makes you stand out and like gold, such that you're sought out after, because there's something you said from the last one, how eventually, even if you're being used in quotes, it is the end product is for yourself.
Absolutely.
So how can a person who's listening, who is unemployed, take advantage of the great resignation?
Thank you, Oluwaseun. First, perspectives matter. You know, it's like that famous, you put down a letter 6, and depending on what side you're standing on, the 6 could look like a 9. Another analogy is the cup half full or half empty. So perspectives matter. So a critical element is each of us must be careful who we hang out with, because a lot of influences people act out on is because of who they listen to and who they hang out with. So we need to be conscious and intentional in hanging around positive people who look for the opportunities in the crisis. Because yes, there's lots of crises, there are lots of reasons to jackpot or to change jobs, bad bosses, no career, and all of that. But in all of those situations, there are opportunities, right? So first thing I'll advise is be intentional in making sure you hang around positive-minded people. Follow who know road, like they say. And you met me online, and now it's like we've known each other for years. So when the social media era, so you're looking for jobs, the right kind of jobs. Let's start from the vacancy point. Forget all those first class 2-1 that they always put there. It's deliberate. Because even when they say only first class 2-1, you have 2,000 people applying for one vacancy. So you can imagine if they didn't put that restriction, you'll have 10,000. So the idea is to discourage you. Right. With my third class, I applied and I got those jobs in my time. So what you want to do when you see a vacancy is, what do they want done? Not the degree. So you tell me there's a vacancy for a head marketing, of someone in marketing to sell something. I know I can sell. I will apply. But how you write your CV, you won't be putting your grade or degree on the CV. So CV writing itself, because that's the first thing they see before they even invite you over. So there's a CV writing skills, right? And when you get there and you're able to demonstrate what you have sold before and how you'll help them sell their product. And what happened in my own experience in those days was they look at each other after the interview and they look at my certificate and like, did you see the advert? I said, yes. It said first class 2-1. I said, yes. But you have a third class. I said, yes. So why did you apply? I said, you've spent some time with me. Do I look like I fit the role or not? Then they look at each other. It's okay, you have the job. So that comes again from who you associate with, who fill you up with those positivity. You know, not aspire to perspire kind of
To Maguire.
not for a chicken to face a lion and say, I can beat this lion. Not that kind of thing, but the right kind of thing. Now, when you get the job, or those currently employed, if you need to change jobs, more important than the salary is the culture and the values in that place you are going to. Because you could get 100,000 naira higher than your pay, but in that place, they may have a horrible work culture. I've given you an example of medical and a few other things. There may be no such thing. So you'll soon find out that your 100,000 more, right? You have left where you have medical cover and a few other benefits to a place where the boss can throw a shoe at you or insult you or sexually abuse you and all of those things. And usually when people make those moves, out of shame, they can't go back or let anybody know they've made a wrong move as it is. Now, when you are at the job, these are some guides for you to become an intrapreneur. One, you must be curious of the job. You must ask questions. You must be curious and somebody that asks questions. Two, get a sponsor within your organization or within your industry. You see, for all of us, at whatever level you are usually being discussed in rooms where you don't have access to. So get a sponsor that is ahead of you. So when they are discussing in that room and they're looking for who to recommend or even looking for who to sack, somebody will raise a voice on your behalf. So when I say be curious, you get a sponsor by what you value you put on the table. So the seniors, the guys begin to recognize that Oluwaseun is different. Oluwaseun is different. And I've had several instances where people's jobs have been saved and people have been accelerated in their career because they had a sponsor. It might be outside your industry, it could be, but helpful in your organization. Then you must place a high value in protecting and advancing lawful and legitimate interest of your organization. Stop worrying about everything salary. You see, when you're in a workplace, what is really happening is they are paying you to give you experience instead of you paying to get experience. So that's why it's perspectives. Look at it like they're paying me to teach me. Then I'm getting to know the customers. I'm getting to see the mistakes they make as a business. So that when I start my own business or move elsewhere, I've used them to learn. But if you have a salary benefit mentality, you will never see those opportunities. Or you'll be saying, Oshodi, we all know Oshodi in Lagos. It took a Governor Fashola to come to say Oshodi is not such a rubbish place and started the transformation that we see today. So rather than seeing Oshodi as a horrible place, he saw the opportunities. Look at the outcome. So then don't focus on self-survival. That's a human default. It's human. It's just about me. Rather, focus on serving. Be intentional in what value can I add to this department, to this organization. And in getting your values across, you need to also invest in communication skills and how to articulate that value. Because if you're not careful, you could be misconstrued as being arrogant and stubborn. So get a coach, like I said. Get people, a mentor who can guide you on communication skills, how to articulate your views so that it gets heard. And remember, you now have a sponsor. So through your sponsor, before you know it, you just be accelerated. Then a lot of people are like, no, this is me, be you. That's one of the current crazes. Why it's okay to be you? You must understand the politics and what goes on in your organization. Every organization has some form of politics and influence going on. So you must be intentional in understanding what are the dynamics here Otherwise, you may be knocking your head on the wall and associating with the wrong people.
Mm.
So for as long as you work anywhere, you must quickly understand what are the things that are the do's and don'ts here. Don't say be you and me. Leave that at home once you get to the office until you leave the office. So when you do this, honestly, you'll become intrapreneurial, even if your organization does not provide those things I said at the beginning.
Mm. And at the end of it all, you become the biggest beneficiary of everything.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the YouTube comment section and it is on fire. I don't even know which one I'm going to take, but maybe when I come back, we'll take it because time really flies by. We have to take another break. And when we come back, I cannot help it. We have to talk about the work culture and the ethics of the Gen Z because they are the future. And I always say that what happened, I say it many times, and sometimes I get people into that conversation, that what happened between millennials and Gen Z, what caused the gap? Who was supposed to transfer the values that didn't? Or is it that they are what's going on? Now, if we're going to be talking about the sterling qualities that are going to help people be better humans and also entrepreneurs, we need to talk about how to hand down the values or transfer the values. So we need to talk about Gen Z and mentoring and coaching and just give a bit of a background and the way to go. Because I don't know if you saw it online, but I recently saw somebody who said he will stop taking interns as a result of a person who sent in a resignation email that said, it makes no sense. A lot of things that you see, you're wondering, did you even think about this at all? So that is I don't want to say hat's cry, but I would like us to talk a bit about that before we just wrap this conversation up. In case you're joining us for the first time, you are in the right place. You're listening to Smooth 98.1, and my guest is Mr. Olusoji Oyawoye. Somebody was laughing in the YouTube session and saying Dr. Olusoji. Well, you never can tell. It's coming. So this is Office Journal, and my name is Oluwaseun Olusegun.
Can I get some water?
Yes, please. So, the dispenser. There is a cup. The cup. You know the cups now. Yeah.
Is there an Afro comb here by the time I'm done?
Do I have an? I have a big one.
That would do.
Yeah.
See, the reality is there's nothing wrong with the Gen Zs.
Okay.
Well, it's not wrong in the sense of wrong. It's just that each generation looks at issues differently. And it's important we try to, let me put it this way, build bridges rather than walls. Because what we do is we build walls between the generations. And just generalize. Millennials are like this. Baby boomers are like that. Gen Zs are like that. What you're doing with that is you're building walls. You need to build bridges. And guess what? It's easier to build walls than bridges. So people don't invest in building bridges. This is a Tuesday. I'm an ex-banker for 19 years before we started Resource Intermediaries in 2006. Up until 3 years ago, Monday to Thursday, I have to be on the side. I can't dress like a suit in my office. So for 13 years, we're like that. And I was rich because of a generational issue. And I forgot I was beginning to have in my employment millennials and Gen Zs who struggled with it. But because we also have a policy that every 2 years we review our staff handbook. So
You have a staff handbook?
Staff handbook, yes.
Oh, wow.
You can't have a business without a staff handbook. Oh, you don't have a business yet if there's no staff handbook. There has to be a staff handbook that shows the rights and obligations of the organization to the staff and vice versa. So, and every 2 years you review it. So in the last review, we had to change our dress code, change all of that. We couldn't have hair. The lady couldn't have hair beyond her shoulders up until 3 years ago.
Really?
Now the hair can touch the ground. We don't see hair anymore. You couldn't have colored hair like this before, but now they are allowed colored hair. Because the reality is we are building bridges. Because what really do I need from them? I need their creativity. I need their energy. But I'm trying to box them into my own generation. So you have to build bridges. So there are rules. So even the colored hair, we chose like 5 colors. I didn't know hair had number. We got
Yes,
they
it
themselves
does.
to tell us. They showed us.
Yeah.
I said, I don't understand this number. Show me the picture. When they showed us all the picture, there's no green. There's no
Wait, how is it coming? It's the last stretch.
right.
Yes, Richard Quest said it right and correctly. You're listening to Smooth 98.1. We are talking Office Journal and we're discussing intrapreneurship. We have just about 4 more minutes to the end of this, and that is sad because we still have so much value to unpack. Thank you so much for your messages. I see them. I cannot take all of them, but I will just take very few and then we will wrap this up with that one on how we can build bridges between the generations, especially Generation Z. Okay, can I take this call? Let me try. Hello, good morning. Oof, please call back if you can. I'm trying to maximize the time. That's why I'm limiting the calls and the messages. But you can call 01-448-9981. That's the number to dial. Just one call. I have the space for just one call. And I see a message, British man. Thank you so much. I will see this one. Okay, let me take this one on YouTube. That's from Kate Chukura, who says, what if you are an employee employed by someone who does not know the job on which you are employed, but yet she cannot trust you with her money to do the job for her? Oh, okay. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand the question. It's part of why I said a critical element is how to articulate your views and how to communicate it. That coupled with, like I said, get a sponsor in the organization. So if there's a sponsor, meaning someone who's become more like your mentor, you would be able to find somebody you can share your predicament with, who may be able to step in without mentioning that it came from you. So that communication style is also key. That's why every individual needs a coach, believe me. It's not only football stars and the Ronaldos and all of that need coaches. Everyone needs a coach. But guess what? Getting a coach will cost you time. Some will cost you money, which is why most don't go that route. But you need it.
Okay. So now taking it to Generation Z and building the bridges, would you say mentoring is one of the key things that we can use in building bridges between the generations?
Yes, mentoring could be of some help, but I still emphasize that organizations, one of the trainings we render currently is a training that's called Bridging the Generational Divide. Bridging the generational divide. So we help organizations understand that there's nothing wrong with the Gen Z or millennial, right? There's nothing wrong with the baby boomers or the baby builders. What is happening is each generation has built walls between themselves rather than bridges to connect them. And guess what? It's easier to build walls than bridges. So nobody wants to spend the time to build bridges. But we have a model, a 90-minute training model to address that. So they can come through you or through me and we can render that service. So you help them understand. For example, the way my generation, we're very happy to have a job. So that's why we'll die there. We're very happy to have a job. But when you go to millennials, they don't look at jobs that way. They feel the organization should be happy to have them. And that's where millennial looks at work, that they should be happy that I'm working here. But my generation, we're happy, very grateful to have a job. So if they slap us there, they tell us job, we will be very happy. But as you go to millennials, then Gen Zs are parents. Who are the parents of Gen Zs, right? They are builders and millennials who felt that they had it rough. So you overpet your children and throw them into the market that is basically social media and the likes. So their whole worldview is anything they share online and people like. When the people don't like what they share online, then they remove one clothing or expose some body part, then they have many likes. So over time, Gen Z tends to feel that the way to get accepted is to do things that people like. Now, guess what? Those people don't know you physically. So it affects the way a Gen Z, so that's why we need that building bridges. But Gen Z's, millennials, they have energy, they have creativity that builders and baby boomers like I don't have. But we have experience that they don't have. So that's why we need to build a bridge so
Yeah.
they will benefit from our experience. We have to be patient also to tap into their energy. I'm one of the few baby boomers. I'm on TikTok. People my generation are not even on Instagram, but I'm everywhere because again I have this understanding that I'm a coach, right? You won't find Gen Zs on Facebook, but you find my generation there. So, but all of these has value, especially for an organization. So stop building walls and categorizing people by their age bracket and all those Gen Z millennials. Rather, we find a way to build bridges. Then everybody benefits. That's what we are enjoying in my organization.
And another thing we need is you coming back on the show.
It'll be my pleasure. I've enjoyed myself here.
Because
today.
we need a lot of information. We need a lot of mentality re-engineering. And in the way that we can, we will definitely do it by letting people know that there is more to life than money and salary.
Absolutely.
So we need to get the word out there. As I have not known you before now, but now that I have, it is my job to do something about it. So thank you so much for all that you've shared here. And thank you to all of you who have been a part of it on YouTube. I see the comment section. We will still put this video up on our WhatsApp status. So if you're a part of our WhatsApp family, you know what to do. You can just go to our status later on. But if you're not, what you can do is send your name and location where you're listening to us from. So we'll save your contact, and going forward, you will see whatever it is that we upload on our status. Also, I will try and put this in the comment section of our Twitter page too, so that just for you to catch up on these and get yourself educated and get your eyes open, because good information is life. Knowledge is life. And when you apply it, it's even better. So that's all I have for you this morning. My guest has been Mr. Olusoji Oyawoye. He's the co-founder and the MD CEO Resource Intermediaries Limited. He's an author with 7 published books. You better go get all the things he has said, because some of them are written in the books. It's not possible for you to put all of them, but he has put a good number of them in the book. So you should go get some of them for yourself. Thank you. And oh yes, you can find him on social media. Very interesting handle, SOJ Iludun, I believe. That's spelled as ESOJAYILUDUN. Iludun. Yeah,
That's where I come from.
Irepodun local government, Kwara State.
Yeah, one of the monitoring spirits.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the show for this morning. But I'll be back on the other side with all the soul music. You're listening to Smooth 98.1.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.